Right, let me start the recording. Where's my recording button? Here it is. Okay, you guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jeneth Blackert.
And I'm Leonka Reyna.
And this is the Hot Hustle Show. And today we're talking with Ashlie Beiter, and she is a co-founder of By Winona, a company that I've recently become obsessed with after noticing some hair loss, and I'm hitting kind of that perimenopausal, maybe beginning of menopause transition. So when I found it and thought it was hot and sexy and easy was the big thing for me without having to find a naturopath, I was in. And I thought it would be so fun to bring to this community and really share. And also for me, I want to know a whole lot more about hormones and how they work, and especially how you became a co-founder at your young age. Do you want to
Yeah,
start?
go ahead. Yeah. So hi, Ashley. Welcome on the show. Yeah, I'm dying to know about, you're young, you're in this vibrance, and for me, I haven't started the menopausal, premenopausal yet, but I know I'm getting closer. But I definitely wasn't thinking about it, at a much younger age. Just because, well, in my culture, we don't always think about those things first, but and also because there's kind of a little bit of, quiet enduring, if you will, that I kind of grew up with, or the women in my life grew up with. Will you talk a little bit about, what brought you so, what was your interest, and why share that with us today?
Yeah, absolutely. So Winona was founded about 3 years ago. Actually, it'll be our 3-year anniversary in April. And I mean, from the beginning of my life, I've always had an extreme passion for health. And, getting older, I started like going to the OBGYN and having questions that I felt were very basic and that every woman should know. And I was always kind of met with questions and kind of like a black box with doctors. And it would lead me to have conversations with my girlfriends. And then we'd be like, oh, I heard this and I heard that. And I was like, wow, it's crazy that like you just can't get a straight answer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so when some of the other founders of Winona mentioned to me, like before Winona was a thing, that they wanted to get into telehealth, we really started evaluating what part of healthcare we wanted to create a company around. And
Mm-hmm.
women's health was an extreme gap. And when you niche it down even more, menopause was extremely underserved. At the time, there weren't any other companies really in the menopause space that were offering bioidentical hormone replacement therapy.
Mm-hmm.
We started looking more into it. And so
Mm-hmm.
we started Winona, and I was actually lucky enough to really be in on the ground floor and wearing a lot of hats at the time. I wanted
Uh-huh.
to do everything I could possibly do in the company to understand where is this company going to go? Who are we serving? And like, what is going to be our role in the future of health?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
wow, it was the most impactful, just prideful job I've ever done.
Oh, cool.
Of it. I was able to talk to our actual patients. It was me, our CMO, Dr. Reen at the time, just working every day together. And I would call pretty much anyone that landed on our website and that had interest and talk about menopause. And they would tell me issues in their marriage, issues in their day to day of work. Maybe they had a meltdown driving the car that day in a red light. And these conversations just opened up this whole new passion and like all this empathy to wanting to help more and more. And, you know, my mom, she's postmenopausal, and now we like sit and laugh about like how I actually might know more about menopause than her, who's gone through it, due to this like lack of education around the topic. And
Yes.
that's been always one of the founding principles of Winona is empathy and education. And so we really train all of our staff on like how to really empathize with the patient and how to give the best care possible. And then also how can we provide the highest education to really change the stigma and to give the most answers to our patients and community as possible.
Yeah.
Sorry, a really long answer.
No, it's great. It's great.
No, that was fabulous. One of the things that I loved about it was you just go to the site and you start with a quiz, really about your symptoms, and then it makes a suggestion for you. And I just thought, gosh, normally I'd have to wait like 3 to 6 months to see a naturopath. And then I'd have to drive to their office, and then they'd probably give me the exact same thing that you recommended based on my symptoms. And you also have that teledoc behind the scenes. And I thought, how cool is this? And I don't know I know that there are other kind of hip menopause brands out there, but I really was drawn to this because of the simplicity of that. The marketing around it and the way the site is done is just stellar. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about
the process? Yeah, for someone that doesn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We try to make getting care as easy and convenient as possible. We understand that like a lot of women using our services, they might be in a very rural area or in maybe a very congested area like LA, for example. We're
I was
getting
going to say, or like me, we can't drive around anywhere anymore in Austin, Texas. Yes.
Oh, I lived in Austin for a while too. I love Austin.
Okay, so you know that, right? It's great. It's a great city, but I mean, getting around is pretty impossible lately.
Yeah, and getting doctor appointment even more impossible.
I know. And then, of course, it's like one of the last things you want to do. Yes, go ahead. Sorry. Because we could talk about that all day long, too.
I know. Us, we love to talk.
Yes. But tell us about the process and how the simplicity, because I think that's going to be something that's very important to our listeners.
Absolutely. We wanted to make it as easy and convenient as possible. How can a woman sit down, take a 5-minute onboarding quiz, and then get treatment within 24 hours? So we really try to mimic the intake form that you would fill out for really any doctor's office to get that initial information.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would get a basic understanding of what symptoms were occurring in their life.
Mm-hmm.
From there, our tech would create kind of like just a basic response to the doctor of what would be best recommended to prescribe. And then the doctor would actually review the answers and then make their tailored prescription.
Mm-hmm.
And all of our treatments are customized. And so we offer the free messaging so our doctors can communicate with our patients,
Wow.
get a deeper understanding from there to tailor their treatment towards their needs. We offer compounding, which last I've checked, we're the only really telehealth source in the market right now that offers compounded medications, which really gives us that ability to customize treatments to the patient.
What is compounding? Is that like mixing things together?
Yeah, so a compounding pharmacy is where you're really able to be very precise on the dosage of the hormones that you're giving. So when you do a pill or a patch, which are other treatment methods that we offer, they're all made in FDA lab. But when it comes to compounding, you're actually able to combine estrogen and progesterone into one cream and get a very specific dosage and apply it transdermally. And it's the fastest method to getting your hormones. We've also found it to be the most cost effective for patients because you wouldn't need an estrogen and progesterone prescription.
I
Right.
see.
And I mean, to make a one size fits all, bodies are all completely different, as we're learning, right? And so having just a one size fits all doesn't necessarily solve the needs for people and how they're different. So compounding allows for that ability, correct? Like you were saying, like the difference in the prescription amounts as well.
Absolutely. It really helps you to customize the prescription. you're never going to have the same menopause experience as your friend. You might have similar symptoms, but everybody.
That's a big statement.
Yeah.
Say it again.
I wanted to say it again. Say it again.
Seriously, for the people in the back of the room, you're never going to have, let me make sure I get it. You're never going to have the same menopause experience as your friend. And you said you may have the same symptoms, similar symptoms, but it's not going to be the same experience. That's huge. I don't think people really get that.
Yeah, everybody needs a unique treatment. And, you know, at Winona, our treatment even goes beyond like just bioidentical hormones. We've really tried to create a community for women to also get support, because when we're taking these calls and talking to so many women in this stage, I kept getting a similar response of people like, you know, like my girlfriends aren't in it, and like there's no one I can talk to about menopause. And I was like,
oh gosh,
girlfriends might be in menopause, but maybe
they just don't know.
They just
probably
don't.
Me.
Well, I think
don't know.
that I kind of was in denial for about 3 years. You know, I the only real evidence I have is thinning hair. And I'm Italian, so I had like this horse hair, you know, and hairdressers would be like, you have so much hair. And so I know from that one symptom. And, you know, I've done little things here and there. I've got like a progesterone cream that I'll sometimes use just because it was recommended by one of my older friends in her 60s, that she used it and it really helped ease things. And I'm like, yeah, well, let's just make sure. So, you know, but I do know that I don't really want to, if I can prevent all of this, and I mean, my sister is 6 years older than me, and my gosh, the hot flashes, it's like she had hot flashes all day long.
That's what I remember about.
And I am like I'm just like not willing. I'm like, I'm gonna figure this out before my period even stops. Because right now my period is like on the clock, exactly on the clock, but it is slowing down. So I know that, and you know, I'm 50, almost older. So I know that I'm getting there.
She looks great. I mean, she keeps saying like, I'm all them. Whatever. I hope to look great all the time. So,
so what is there a symptom that most people have, like that's kind of across the board, or no?
Yeah. So
what are you hearing? Yeah.
What are you hearing?
Yeah.
Did some surveys, and you know, my guess was the same as y'all's in the beginning. I was like, everyone wants to solve hot flashes. That is, I always remember my aunts, my mom, and everyone.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was weight gain and brain fog, which
wow.
Looking back, it makes so much sense. And you know, I learned this too. Perimenopause can start as early as 35, and you can start seeing it in your skin first. And so lately, we've also been seeing a trend of women really going on HRT to combat signs of aging, which I find kind of exciting. Like, I'm there, and so thinking about how this can partner up with like anti-aging benefits is very cool to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that.
I do too.
It makes total sense too. I mean, you know, playing with all the hormones like melatonin and serotonin, and I go to an acupuncture and ask them to balance my hormones, and have been for years upon years. And just because I knew that if they balance my hormones, my cortisone goes down and I feel so much better. And I feel like if I keep my cortisone levels down, then I'm good to go in general in life. And sometimes my vigilant system will get up there and I know, okay, time to go to the acupuncturist and ask them to balance my hormones. So I attribute some of this possible less side effects for me might be because I've actually have taken some action. I just didn't relate it until recently.
I've done none of those things, so I'm probably just a walking storm waiting to happen.
You might be.
No, you're gonna.
Would you recommend? Yeah. Would you recommend somebody in 35 and older to go on the site and take the quiz and get started?
I mean, I'm going to start it as soon as I turn 35. Absolutely. I think
Yeah.
like getting even like a baby dose, like getting my hormones on a very consistent level and addressing it before like I'm in the midst of it.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of studies around long-term use of HRT and how it reduces the risk of Alzheimer's, dementia,
Oh, wow.
and heart disease.
Okay, I'm in.
I'm in too.
Those are all the things that scare me, especially the dementia, because I think that that's a growing epidemic in our society, and it goes well underdiagnosed. And yes, and so I think all of the things. Wow. So you're saying that there's a long-term benefit. Studies are showing that that if you start on HRT, like even as young as 35, that we could start minimizing and seeing almost reversing some of these, not reversing, but I don't even want to put words into a scientific thing, but help that along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After the WHI studies were done, which was the original Women's Health Initiative, it put a lot of fear behind HRT, and it caused a whole generation of doctors to be very scared to prescribe it. Now the winds are changing, people are getting more comfortable around it, and there's more education on what hormones can do for you. Since this education has opened up, they've been able to run more studies, and there are so many numerous studies on like cognitive function when you get into HRT early, heart disease, which is the number one killer of women, and just there's always new things that we're finding out. And so me personally, as someone who's entering their 30s, it's something I would absolutely start at probably on the younger end just to get a handle of things. But there are a lot of natural remedies too that can also combat your hormones, just like you were speaking about on acupuncture. I know black cohosh is a constant go-to for homeopaths to treat women in menopause.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the taste
Yeah.
is hard, but there are some
Yeah,
benefits.
there's some Ayurvedic stuff that you can get that they like add tons of sugar to it though. It's like made in like this syrup or something
See,
just
that's
to
where I
kind of get
stop.
past the taste of it.
I'm like all about health,
I
but
have
I do
some
stop at
deeper
that part.
questions that I want to go down, and you may or may not want to go entirely there. We'll see. One of my friends said that there's multi different estrogens, and if you're short on like estrogen E or E2 or E3, then you can have a lot of bladder and urinary tract problems. Can you talk about how the different estrogens matter and what we might need to know about them?
Yes. So I will admit my knowledge of all the different estrogen types is a little more limited since I'm not a doctor or pharmacist. The information I do know on it is more from the medical side, and it comes
Okay.
from we're looking on what type of estrogen we would look to prescribe our patients.
Okay.
So what I learned, the difference in bioidentical estrogen and typical estrogen that's been prescribed in the past, I think it was the brand name estrogen, like with the VEN, was that there was 21 different types of estrogen in that product. And then when you're looking at a bioidentical one, there was only 7 different types, which actually mimicked the natural estrogen that women produce.
Okay.
A little behind why we chose bioidentical. I would love to speak more on the different types of estrogen and what they could connect to, but unfortunately, my knowledge
No.
is limited on that.
I
Yeah.
mean, for me, I would want to know why, why you chose the bioidentical, and how does that really truly benefit the people that you serve?
Yeah. So we chose to go the bioidentical route so we could work with hormones that emulated the body's natural path as close as possible. And so we chose products like that estrogen I mentioned, not the estrogen, but the bioidentical one, to
Yes.
work more in sync with women's bodies. And also DHEA, which isn't a bioidentical hormone, but it is a product that we sell that
Uh-huh.
raises testosterone levels and estrogen levels to really combat weight gain and brain fog and lack of energy, which is, it's sold over the counter, but we found that it was a lot safer way to raise those testosterone levels
Uh-huh.
than
Uh-huh.
actually prescribing testosterone through our pharmacy. Yeah.
Awesome. You talked about one of the biggest, I thought was one of the biggest differentiators between the Winona product and maybe some of the other stuff on the market as being compounded. Can you talk a little bit about any of the other biggest differences between, the product, the Winona product, and maybe something, that is out there?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much out there right now. So like I
Or what are
mentioned,
some of the benefits of working with your team that you know offhand for sure?
oh, yeah, absolutely. So our compounding is one of the biggest ones. Like I mentioned, you can customize it, tailor it to your needs. It's something very unique to our company. Also, our community, we have over, I think, like 14,000 women in our Facebook group that every day get to talk about what they're
That's
experiencing,
really cool.
journey, where they've been able to get the most help, even if it's on resources that like aren't necessarily our company. Like I remember Meetup got really big in our community, which I thought was funny. And they're like, I'm joining Meetup and like we can have
How
like,
funny. That's cool. That's
yeah,
really cool.
bringing
Yeah.
more together. And then, of course, our corporate program of really getting into some of the bigger tech companies and offering menopause benefits to women that are in the workforce that are struggling with their symptoms.
Oh man, yeah, for sure. That is a big need. I mean, I worked in corporate America for a long, long time, and I feel like just women needs in general, different healthcare needs, and even mental health care needs have been kind of overlooked. And so I think definitely is the time for and in place to create some of those conversations and or care
Yeah.
for sure.
And now is such a great time for corporate America when you have companies like Talkspace and Carrot and now menopause options entering into the workplace to really help support women and keep them in the workforce and be the best selves they can be.
Yeah. Would you suggest if your company doesn't have a menopause care, would you suggest that our audience start asking for those, or maybe just put that as in the suggestion box? Would that be something that helps everything along? Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
Right.
we have a corporate page too, and
Okay.
this has been a program I've really like kind of spearheaded along with our PR agent. It's been kind of a passion project brewing.
Yeah.
And right now we're literally meeting with pretty much any company, hosting a lunch and learn and starting the conversation,
Okay.
customizing slideshows or whatever they really need from the manager point of view, or just like the women in the company that are experiencing it. And we're offering some incentives if the companies choose to work with us to offer their employees. And so it's been really exciting. We've got to talk to a lot of big California tech companies and also meet a lot of incredible women along.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that. That means that there is definitely more apt to bringing that in and more care that will be had. I mean, gosh, I know that personally having more people have more access to much more healthcare is one of my passion projects as well. So that's just so great to hear.
One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about was I know that with HRT that people are afraid of cancer and for safety reasons. And I know that things have changed over various years. Do you want to talk just a little bit about why bioidentical is very different than synthetic hormones and how it's very unlikely to cause anything like that?
Oh, I think we lost
We
your.
lost your
I
audio.
think we lost your audio.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me
No
There
now?
you
worries.
go.
Yes, totally.
Okay, I switched to my cell phone for some reason. Um, yeah, so going back to the WHI study, the Women's Health Initiative, it provided a lot of bad information. And when that original study came out, it said hormone replacement therapy will cause cancer. At the time, we were running the study on a really large group of women, and you're looking at women from like all the way from 35 to like 80 participated in the study. And obviously the results were extremely skewed, and it was years until they reran the study. There's still a whole generation of doctors that maybe aren't as updated and still believe those original results, even though that they've been founded to be wrong and been highly disputed. And so, sorry, I'm trying to go back to my point. I think I got lost along the way. And so the fear of cancer in the general public sourced from that, and we're still working to change the narrative and the reputation of HRT and put out these peer-reviewed published studies that really challenge that factor. In the original study, they also used Premarin, which actually stands for pre-mare urine, so pregnant horse urine, and that's where they source the estrogen in the HRT. Since then, Premarin isn't as widely prescribed anymore due to the fact that it had such a high level of estrogen. It was, I believe, 21 different types of estrogen. The average woman only produces like 7. And so a lot of these bioidentical products are actually sourced from yams and other natural based products. And so we're able to create a more close estrogen to what our body produces, which is where we get the term bioidentical.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
So basically they were intaking a bunch of other crap, hormone crap that they didn't need, which could cause the body to kind of go crazy, possibly. Yeah.
I mean, pregnant horse urine estrogen is something I don't think anyone really wants.
For a while back, I took HCG for weight loss, and I really loved just being on it, just in general, because it just made me feel more youthful and alive. But then I found out that it actually came from urine, and I was like, I don't know that I really want to do this anymore. But I think it comes from human urine. So, yeah. So I think that that's probably pretty close to a bioidentical hormone, but I just thought I don't know. Sometimes things come out of my mouth. That's why.
let me. So one of the things that I was really jazzed for is hearing about weight loss, right? So my hair is thinning. Like I said, I'm probably a walking storm anytime. I have no idea. And I noticed that, I'm getting closer to that age. I'm 45. So I definitely probably need to be looking at that quiz pretty closely now. And but another thing too that I found is that my old ways of quickly losing weight or whatnot, they are not always working as fast. And so I'm like, oh, and I'm working at it really good and hard now, but I definitely don't want to like back trend. So can you tell us a little bit of what some other benefits include or about the weight loss? So I'm totally all in for that. And maybe some of the other benefits that you've heard some of the patients have. Yeah, who isn't, right?
Yeah.
Some of the other benefits or how?
Yeah. The weight loss and some of the other benefits.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. When starting HRT, there is kind of like a 3-month adjustment period. And the way I explain it to patients is if you're coming to us and you're experiencing maybe the standard set of menopausal symptoms, like you have your hot flash, you have your weight gain, you have your insomnia. You're probably going to see results of the insomnia and the hot flash in that first 6-week mark. And then when you're leading into the second month, you're starting to see some of the other benefits, like maybe your brain fog clears, you are free of hot flashes for sure now, and you're seeing other benefits like energy, maybe your libido is coming back, you're feeling a little bit cuter, and
nice
heart hits, and then your body's really adjusted to those hormones, and you're able to kind of like be in a better balance to start losing weight. A lot of people come to us and they're like, I want to lose like the 20 pounds of menopause I gained in a rapid way. Well, it's gonna take some time.
Yeah, it's slow.
Yeah.
Like getting the energy back to lose weight.
Yes.
You want to go to the gym again, and then when your body is not in this constant like high low, you'll be able to start losing weight.
I can see that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, when you're just stable, for lack of a better word, right? Well, I mean, gosh, I think that is some of the things that people do have. Is one of the things I was wondering if it was a menopause symptom is I would have intrusive thoughts. And I remember postpartum, after I had my son, I had intrusive thoughts. and I haven't had them in years and years and years. And they're like really intrusive, like things that I wouldn't even think, like a knife like landing on my, dog's back, and stabbing her and stuff like that. Is that a menopause symptom?
Yeah,
Probably. Okay.
I'm like, whoa.
Well, so there I've got another one.
Anxiety can be linked to menopause. There's a bunch of crazy stuff that can be linked to menopause, like change of taste can be adjusted. You can be clumsy.
Interesting.
There are actually 30 symptoms associated. We have a whole ebook, and it was crazy. I was reading through it, and I was like, "You're kidding me!" Like nails, hair, clumsiness really threw me. I was like, I already fall like 4 times
all the time.
That's funny. My husband's sister, she's like, I just call myself clumsy now, but I didn't seem to get clumsy until my 40s. So, I should mention, be like, here's the podcast.
Yeah, it's crazy. When I feel like I cycle sync myself, and so I'm really into like where I am in the month, and I know when my estrogen levels do start to dip, that's always when I fall. And I'm like, man, I can't imagine when it's like high, low, like I'm just going to be in the hospital.
Yeah. Put me in bubble tape, my husband would already say, like, a little walking force field or something, but that's cool.
We just wear long pants, I think, protect ourselves from curbs.
Right there with you, sister.
So you literally aren't stable. You fall and you get emotionally mood swings, go up and down.
Oh, God.
So if you aren't stable, you probably have a menopause symptom.
Maybe, yeah.
Love that.
I mean, it is crazy. Sometimes I'll be like reading through the symptom book and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in perimenopause.
Well, yeah, because there's not just that one thing. I think that my mom, she kind of was like, well, I don't know if I ever had, like, it just seemed like my period started to slow down and then it just went away. And but then my sister has it, and my sister had like everything.
Oh, that's crazy. So that opens up a good question for y'all. Did your mom speak to y'all about menopause?
Absolutely not.
I mean, my mom did. No. Well, my mom did, right? Because that's all I knew. And she's already passed by now, so it's not like I can go, Mom, I really need to talk to you about this. So instead, I talked to my sister, and she just was like, oh, it's awful. But I think I'm finally past the hot flashes.
So now you're just terrified, right?
Right? But my mom never talked about any of it. I did ask her because, I was in my late 30s when she passed. And so I was like, I feel like, we need to have this conversation. And she was like, yeah, well, that mine just basically, my period just kind of got less and less and less until there was none of it. And she didn't mention any symptoms, but I'm certain she must have had something. There's all my friends that are in their 60s will talk to me about it, even talk to me about libido and, how easy it was to have orgasms in your 20s and 30s and how it's not so easy anymore and things like that. Like we go everywhere. There is like nothing that is private within a certain group of us women. Well, and on the podcast, we've gone there.
Yeah, we definitely have.
We're pretty much willing to have the conversation and just go there because I feel like it's a conversation that people need to have. And that's why the community that you have is just absolutely extraordinary to provide that kind of support, especially for us hitting 50 right now, because our mothers were private. It's like, I came from a world where money wasn't talked about and menopause wasn't talked about. It was just like, you don't talk about those things. Wow. So everyone in your group, no wonder they're looking for support because now they're willing to have the conversation in this day and age. Yeah. Right? It's like in another 20 years, there'll be less people that need support because it'll be all out there.
We hope.
I really hope. I hope
Right.
there's more education, more conversation, and
Yes.
if we're going there too, I think talking about orgasms in menopause is that's still not brought up enough, and it's a huge topic. I have heard people too. It's so funny when I talk to our patients about it, they'll like get kind of shy, and in the beginning always, but then they'll open up in like the next 30 seconds. I want to have sex, but like I have an issue either
climaxing.
Yeah.
or getting enough lubrication going.
Yeah.
So we also have a product, Blossom, which is sildenafil, which is the active ingredient in Viagra that we also offer our patients.
Nice.
And between us girls, I can personally vouch for the efficacy.
Hey,
do you have any hormone replacement for men? Or is that not yet? Is that someplace you're going to go or not?
Currently, we are focusing more on female health.
There's a lot more to do in female work, right?
It seems like it. Although I do hear podcasts and people talking about men and, even just having like a derivative that helps with testosterone, I think is, something that men really, really like. And they really won't have the conversation.
But I mean, if we're talking about men, I feel like it's opened up for them in the past 2 years.
I do too.
Yeah.
I've talked to women who have husbands that have had issues with ED and issues with some testosterone levels. And I honestly really like the company Hims. They even have chewable nip like Viagra now, which is like not fair. Can we please get chewable birth controllers?
Yeah.
Right.
I love that.
I would recommend them to check out Hims. Also, Folks Health is a wonderful company that I would recommend to anyone looking to transition as well. They are doing great things in the telehealth space.
Nice. Very nice. Thank you for that.
I want to know, why was it called By Winona?
That's a good question.
I love that question. So Winona actually means firstborn daughter. And we came up with that because we knew the future of Winona was going to surpass like this age gap of 35 to 59. And we really wanted it to encompass our belief of how Winona is going to help every woman from any age, and really starting at that firstborn daughter aspect and living through her life.
Nice.
And so we already are trying to help now in the younger age groups by providing education on cycles and like having an active standpoint in the community. We just donated money to a high school to buy helmets for a girls lacrosse team because for some reason the boys lacrosse team got helmets, but they didn't think that the girls would hit hard enough to deserve helmets, and they had a lot of head injuries. And so we're like, okay, we'll donate. And so we're trying to do something like that now to get involved in the younger generation, so they, are aware what's menopause.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to have another conversation with you all about the business growth.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, we'll have to have you back during our business summit. We're breaking these up into different groups and stuff that we're working on right now. We're definitely working on, health, wellness, some other avenues for finding health and outside of traditional. And, you sound like a really great fit here. But yeah, we'd love to have you on during our other show as well.
I would love
awesome.
Fabulous.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, you have been such a pleasure to talk with as well. Is there anything that you really think that you feel like the public should know? Like, I'm dying to share this, or I feel like maybe this isn't, something that they asked.
Absolutely. I'll scream it from the rooftops.
Yay.
Start as young as 35.
Okay.
If you are experiencing symptoms, look for care. Don't suffer through your symptoms. I would tattoo that on my body. Stop suffering through your symptoms. There are options out there. Yeah. I feel like many women just want to bear it, and they shouldn't. We're in a great age of medication, science, and convenience.
Convenience, yes, I love it.
Well, we're going to put the link to By Winona somewhere on this page that you're watching this replay. Ashlie, do you want to walk them through the process again? From clicking on the link all the way through getting their hormones in the mail?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very easy. You go to bywinona.com, fill out a short intake form. That should take 2 to 5 minutes. And then you can connect with the doctor within 24 hours and start talking about your menopause symptoms. And they'll write you a prescription and it'll be at your door within 3 to 5 days. And you can start treatment the next week, go on a vacation, feel great.
Ashlie, I'm definitely doing that right away. Yeah, I'm all in, definitely gonna do it. I'll have to send you a note, let you know how I'm doing, because I'm clumsy right now, so.
If you send me an email, I'll make sure to hook you up with a nice little discount.
Nice, thank you. Awesome. Well, yeah.
I think this is a wrap.
Awesome. I love being here. Love chatting with y'all. Thank you again for having me. This is my first speaking appearance, and it was such a great opportunity to be on your podcast.
Well, thank you for joining us. Yeah.
You have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye. Oh, I was hoping she'd hang out. Let me take us off YouTube just a second.